Confidence. People talk about confidence all the time, and they always say that you should have it. You should have confidence. Yeah, that's very easy to say, but what the fuck are you talking about? What is confidence? See, it's very easy to throw out a word like confidence and say that you should have it, but not really give any kind of explanation for it because it's just assumed. But see, it's very important to figure out what you're talking about, not just in confidence, but in everything, so that you know what you're talking about, and therefore you can actually solve it if it's a problem. You see what I'm saying? And confidence is no different. What is confidence? Very simple. To my way of seeing it, confidence is the following. It's optimism about the future and the path that you are on. Number one. Number two, it's feeling that you have control over the environment that you are currently in. And number three is being at ease with that knowledge and that sense of control over your environment. You see what I'm saying? Those three things. Optimism about the future and the path that you're currently on. Feeling in control of your immediate environment. And being at ease with both that optimism and that sense of control. That's it. Those are the three things. Now, let's go through them. First of all, why does confidence even matter? Well, very simple. You see, when you feel confident, you are less likely to make mistakes. When you are optimistic about the path that you're on, and you are on this particular path, and you have a feeling of control of your environment, and at the same time you're at ease with both the optimism that you have and the sense of control that you have, then what happens is that, see, any problem that arises, you're not going to panic. You're not going to feel fear. In point of fact, if you're very confident about something, you're going to feel excited about a problem, about a challenge. I mean, think of it in a non-controversial sense. Say that you are good at math, right? I used to be very good at math. Now I'm old and I've forgotten most of my math. But back in the day, I was just a math junkie, quite frankly. I loved math. I was very confident in it. And whenever I would get a problem that was really hard, really challenging it, I didn't feel frightened. On the contrary, I was like excited. I remember when I was like in college, I was taking this calculus class and it was just a delight. And I was in college and I was in my dorm room and I was trying to get to sleep, but I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking about a problem that I had in calculus. And it was so weird because I was thinking and thinking and thinking about it and I sort of like drifted off. And then in the middle of the night, I snapped awake and I had the solution. Yeah, and I was so excited because I felt totally confident about it. And a problem in calculus didn't frighten me at all. But if you're not confident about your ability in math or whatever the fuck, you're not confident and a problem arises, what happens? You freak out. You freak out because you don't know what to do, because you don't feel that you're really in control. You don't feel like you're in the driver's seat. You see what I'm saying? And you're not really optimistic about the path that you're on or what's going on. You're just like tense. And so a challenge arises and you panic. You panic and you make the wrong decision. You make the wrong decision because your fear overwhelms your reason and logic. Your fear, your desire to fight or flight, right? Your fear drives you to make decisions that are counterproductive, right? Yeah, and this happens all the time in everything, okay? This is why confidence is so essential. And confidence is not something that you simply acquire. It's not something that, presto changeo, you've got it. You got to build it up slowly. And you take your time with it. A lot of times it's very difficult precisely because it is so time consuming to build confidence. It's not something that you can go to a store and zip with a credit card and presto changeo, you got confidence. No. Confidence comes from failure, from trying and failing, trying and missing. That's where it comes from. You have enough failures in whatever you're doing, enough dead ends in whatever you're doing, and eventually you're going to be like, oh, now I know how this works. And that's how you get confidence. It's having had the failures and overcoming them. You see what I'm saying? Not being able to figure out the problem for the longest time, and then finally that breakthrough, and you figured out the math problem. You figured out the problem at work. Whatever it is, that's how you gain confidence, little by little. And that's why you have to practice whatever it is you want to get confident in, right? You got to practice it relentlessly, and practice like basketball players. I personally don't play basketball. I don't play any goddamn sport because I'm a lazy bum. But to get good at basketball, what do you have to do? You have to, stand there and just shoot at the hoop, right? Over and over and over again. And how many times are you going to fail at first? I mean, when you're just starting out, you're going to fail 90% of the times, right? But you keep on throwing the ball at the basket. You do it, 300 times a day for 3-4 months. And what's going to happen at the end of 3-4 months? Instead of having a 90% failure rate and a 10% success, it's going to be flipped around. You're going to have 90% success rate and 10% failure, right? It's inevitable. Because as you keep on repeating an activity, your muscle memory, which is really just your hind brain, remembering stuff and figuring, when I do it this way, it fails, but when I do that way, it goes swoosh through the basket, right? Well, the more you repeat something, the more errors you make, but at the same time, the more you learn from those errors, quite naturally. And you just grow that confidence. You see what I'm saying? And as you grow confident in whatever activity you're pursuing, well, then you're going to have fewer and fewer mistakes. And the challenges that arise, you'll be able to handle them, and you won't be afraid of them. You won't be afraid of them because with all the practice you've done, you've seen it all before. You see what I mean? Now, of course, you can be very confident about certain things in your life and completely lacking in confidence in other things in your life, which is quite natural. I mean, for instance, in my own case, I'm very confident in speaking to a bunch of people. I've spoken to, thousands of people on different occasions, and no problem. If somebody were to say to me right now, you got to go up there to the stadium and there are going to be 20,000 people, staring at you, waiting for you to talk. Can you do it? I'd be like, sure, no problem. No problem at all. And I mean that sincerely, because I've had enough practice. When I was, 19, I started as an English teacher in front of, students who were learning English as a second language. These were adults. These were, people in their 30s and 40s who needed English for their careers to advance in their jobs. And so they were very motivated. And, I walked in as a 19-year-old kid scared shitless, right? But, after 2-3 years of doing this, I got really fucking good at it. And no problem talking to 12 people and bossing them around and telling them what's what, right? Yeah, of course. See, that was my practice, right? And then after that, I went through different reasons for me to be talking to a whole bunch of people. And so what happened was that I naturally gained that confidence in talking to people. I'm very confident in that. But I have zero confidence insofar as sports are concerned. Yeah, I'm just like, no. You try to teach me any sport, and I'm just going to be like, no, man. And I have zero confidence. You try to teach me, cricket or rugby or some sport that I've never played. I'm going to freak the fuck out. Archery, Jesus Christ, I'll probably kill you by accident, for crying out loud. I'm that bad, because I'm physically not very coordinated. I have terrible hand-eye coordination, right? And I lack confidence insofar as sports because I was never any good at sports, okay? And so I lack all confidence in sports. But you see the issue, I'm very confident in public speaking and zero confidence insofar as playing sports because practice, right? When I was a kid, a 19-year-old through the age of 22, almost 23, for those 3.5 years, I was every day teaching an English class to a bunch of people. So I gained that confidence from practice. And insofar as sports, I never practiced because, like I said before, I'm a lazy bum, and I hate practicing sports, I enjoy certain sports, but I hate doing it, and like practicing and shit. I like playing sports and skiing, but that's about it. But that's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is that, see, you can be confident in different areas of your life. So the important thing is to identify those areas in your life that you are confident in. That's one of the most important things that you should do. Identify those areas that you are confident in, and identify those areas that you lack confidence, that are important to you. You see what I'm saying? I've been doing basically a lot of videos as of late about incels, involuntary celibates, and this is part of that project that I'm doing. Okay? Because, see, a lot of guys who are involuntary celibates are very, very confident in, say, their studies. They're very, very, they're brainiacs. They're really smart when it comes to math or physics or whatever the fuck, right? Computer science or what have you. They're very confident and they're very successful because of that confidence. But they lack confidence with the woman thing. And they don't get the woman they want, and they're all miserable and forever alone and all the rest of it, right? So they say, well, how do I manage it? How do I get confident with girls? And the trick is simplicity itself, because, see, when you want to be confident in something, you have to practice it, right? But if you want to be confident in a new area, you got to choose an area that is sort of like adjacent to your area of confidence. Let me give you an example. Suppose you're in college and you're studying, I don't know, engineering, okay? You're in engineering, you're building stuff, right? And so you're really very capable and confident at it. You're very optimistic. You have no trouble with it. It's all good, right? So when you graduate from college, where are you likely to go and look for a job? At an engineering firm, right? And they're going to be building bridges or whatever, right? So working at this engineering firm is going to be sort of like similar to going to class. It's not quite the same, because you're going to class and you're learning from a professor and you're doing your problem sets and what have you at the direction of the professor. And of course, you're paying the professor, right? And here, you're going to work at some engineering firm and they're going to be paying you to solve problem sets. It's kind of similar, right? It's basically the same thing, except, you have to wear a nice clothes and be clean shaven and show up to work right on time, right? But other than that, it's sort of like adjacent to what you are doing. And so at first you're going to be a little bit nervous, the first month or two, but as you get into the swing of the work at this engineering firm, you're going to do fine, because it's adjacent to your area of confidence. It's not something outlandish. It's not that you were studying engineering and then you get hired to, I don't know, write a book about sunflowers. I don't know. No, it's something that is near and dear to you. It's not something completely alien to you, so you'll do fine. And in short order, you'll be very confident, right? Same with other aspects of your life. See? And that's why you have to, pay attention. Because, like, in my own case, I didn't have much confidence with girls, just as when I was 19, 18, I had zero confidence in terms of public speaking. But see, practicing as a teacher and being a teacher and bossing people around and knowing how to manage the situation, right? I quickly realized that a lot of the skills I was acquiring as an English teacher translated very neatly to dealing with women, right? And so it was sort of like a natural progression. It was a step sideways. I was good at being an English teacher, and I just stepped it over sideways. And all good, you see? And you'll find that if you try to make great leaps, how could I put this? Imagine it's like a circle, okay? A circle around you. And at different, angles of this circle are different areas where you are an expert, where you are very confident, and areas where you are completely lacking in any confidence, right? So you can sort of like move sideways, little by steps, but you can't jump across the circle. This circle that surrounds you, right? the circle of confidence, there will be one area here that you're very confident and some area over here that you're lacking in confidence. So you have to sort of like move around, not leap across. If you leap across, you're going to go splat, basically. But if you move around like a crab and try to be next to it, adjacent to that area of confidence, then you got something. See what I mean? So, like with the issue of girls, right? A lot of guys have problems with girls. A lot of guys don't know how to handle them. They're not socialized. So, what do? Do you try to approach girls? No, you try to do the slightly easier thing of just interacting with regular people. Interacting with regular people until you get really good at it. And you practice it, and you put effort into it. You practice interacting with other people until you feel supremely confident. And then little by little, you move over to interacting with the women that you like. You see what I'm saying? If you're really good at math but suck at dealing with girls, and you try to jump over from the confidence you have at math into the confidence with girls, you're going to fail. But if you go around, then you succeed. It's always just sideways. You're moving your confidence level sideways, adjacent to what you are already confident in. You see what I'm saying? Now, don't confuse confidence with appearing confident, okay? There are a lot of people who think that they can fake it. But the fact of the matter is, what I've noticed over the years is that people have this unerring sense of when you're bullshitting them insofar as confidence, insofar as real expertise in one area or another. You can fake people out for a little bit. And some people can fake them out for quite a while. But with enough interaction, people get a sense of how confident you really are in some area or the other. And so you got to be very careful about faking it. I don't think that you should. Sometimes if you're sort of thinking to yourself, well, this is sort of like adjacent to my comfort zone and I think I can do it, well then, yeah, it's sort of like a little, like a bridge faking it. It's just a little hop, right? Then, yeah, sure. But if you're going into an area where you know nothing about it, you've really not thought about it, you don't know anything, you've never practiced it or anything like that, don't fake it. Don't, because you're going to get caught out, okay? It's much better to do the crab approach of moving sideways into that area of expertise than the kangaroo hop of going from one area that you are an expert at into another area where you are definitely not an expert at. People will catch on and they'll dismiss you. It'll actually hurt you, because the fact of the matter is, as I've said before, I did this video of, what if you're wrong? People always respect you when you admit ignorance, or you admit that you're wrong, or you admit that you don't know a particular topic. If you just say, I don't know this, I'm sorry, people forgive you, because nobody expects you to know everything about everything, right? It's impossible, of course. So if you rub up against something, don't fake it. Never fake it. And the other thing is, don't confuse confidence with arrogance, okay? Now, arrogant people, arrogant people are people who project confidence, right? But they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They are deluded, in a sense. They are the classic, Dunning-Kruger. Is it Dunning-Kruger or Kruger-Dunning? I always forget. Anyway, you know that curve, that famous curve, that the less you know something, the more you think you know, and as you learn it, the more you realize how ignorant you truly are, the less confident you are. And as you even learn even more and become like a PhD, then your confidence rises, but it never rises back up to the level of when you are a complete ignoramus, right? Yeah, because the ignoramus, the guy who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, he's going to be supremely confident. Dunning-Kruger, he's going to go out there and bullshit and talk all kinds of crap. I mean, talk out of his fucking ass like he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't know, okay? It's Dunning-Kruger in effect. Arrogance is a mask for ignorance. Never forget that, okay? There's a famous saying from some jazz musician. I forget which one it was. A Dizzy Gillespie or one of those guys. And he said, it ain't arrogance if you can bring it, which is absolutely true. Okay. A lot of times you'll find somebody who you consider arrogant, and it's just like they have an overriding confidence about some ability. Okay. So it's a little bit confusing there. I mean, admittedly. Sometimes you can't tell if the guy's just an arrogant shithead who's just a fucking ignoramus on the one hand, or he's a guy who really knows what the fuck he's talking about on the other, I mean, sometimes it's hard, but time will tell you. And it's not even a long time, a very short time. A guy who's, arrogant to the point of being just an asshole, but, you start talking to him for, 10, 15 minutes and you realize that guy knows what the fuck he's talking about, then, well, it's not arrogance. He can bring it. You see what I'm saying? By the same token, you can find some arrogant shithead and you talk to him for 5, 10 minutes and you start like digging and poking and you realize, Dunning-Kruger, the fucker doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And then you're like just an arrogant shithead and leave it at that. So you see what I'm saying is that, arrogance in and of itself does not signify anything. You gotta poke at it a little bit. You gotta poke at the guy who's an arrogant bastard. And notice something else, by the way. The guys who are really, really confident, the guys who really know what the fuck they're talking about, right? Those guys will never have a problem answering a question, no matter how general the question or how specific, or how quote unquote absurd. They'll never have a problem answering any question about the thing that they're totally confident about. It's the guys who are bullshitting, who are faking it. Those guys will give you a smug chuckle and like, ha ha ha, you're asking something so basic, ha ha ha. Those guys, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, okay? When it's the smug chuckle, when it's the posh, who are you to ask me such a basic thing? Those guys don't know. See? Because a guy who really knows, the guy who's really confident, he will be happy to tell you. I mean, it'll be just bursting out of his mouth. And you'll ask him something and you'll expect, a 2-sentence reply. And instead it'll be half an hour of him going on and on and on about the subject till you're just like, okay, enough, I get it, And that's the thing. See, a guy who knows will have no trouble going on and on about an issue. The guy who's bullshitting, or just again, Dunning-Kruger, who thinks he knows, but actually is completely ignorant. Well, those guys, yeah, they'll dodge and weave. They'll dodge and weave and you'll catch on real quick. Yeah. Now, finally, how does this translate into the issue of women? Okay. Why do women find confidence so attractive? Because they do. Okay. Women find a confident man attractive for obvious evolutionary reasons. See? A man who is confident in general is a man who is in control of his immediate environment. And women want to be with such a man. See? Now, when I say that, to be in control of your immediate environment, I'm not meaning that you're like this big gorilla who's going to beat up whoever's around. No, of course not. It's more metaphorical, okay? What I mean, of course, is that, see, a man is confident in his place in the world. And people sense it. It comes off because we as human beings are very, very good at observing the true sentiment of our fellow human beings. And it's easy, you're in the subway, for instance, or a bus or whatever, and you look around at the people, and I bet you that you'll be able to figure out quite well what each person there on the bus is thinking. And some people might be very sad, and some people might be very angry, and some people might be just like bored, and some people, you see a laughing couple and you can tell, are they in love or is it just, lust or whatever, or are they about to break up? You can tell very easily. We're very good at that. And that's why confidence is so important. Because by projecting confidence out into the world, we make ourselves more attractive to our fellow human beings. We all want to be with people who are confident. And most especially, we want to be with a partner, a man or a woman, as the case may be. We want to be with a person who is confident. We want to be with a partner who is sure of themselves. Because that way we can depend on them. Because that's the thing. We are all looking for somebody that we can depend on. And women, most especially, are looking for a partner that they can depend on. And so they're very good at noticing those cues of real confidence. And it's gotten to a point insofar as our evolution as a species, right? That, see, before in the past, just being confident in your ability to survive was good enough for most women. But now, because of the technology and our own evolution, it's gotten to a point where you can feel very, very confident in one area, you know, like your work or school or whatever, and lack confidence insofar as dealing with women, and therefore you will lose with women. And so you have to just build confidence insofar as that. And the way you do it is by stepping up to it little by little and doing the crab move, moving side to side, not kangarooing from the thing that you're confident in all the way to the thing that you're not confident in, which is women. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to be doing another video in a short while about one of the best ways to gain confidence insofar as women, and that is working with people, working with customers, retail. I personally think that it is the best way to practice dealing with people, and it is the best way to gain confidence in dealing with people, that you can, again, crab-like, move over to that adjacent area of dealing with women. So till next video.